As a student of business, I'm curious to know the role that webinars will play in the marketing mix of forward-thinking companies.
The whole purpose of a webinar, from a demand generation perspective, is to do the most important portion of any selling experience, and that's to create two people having a dialogue, getting someone into a conversation. So today, everywhere we go, we hear join the conversation. A webinar's success is how well you've not only attracted the audience, but how well you stimulated their intellectual curiosity, so they'll walk away saying, you know what, I learned something I didn't know, or they gave me some great ideas. I want to have a conversation with them.
But why is it important to stimulate intellectual curiosity in an audience?
Because until you are heard, there's no interest in having a conversation. So today, the big challenge is getting above the noise and the clutter.
The internet has made possible so many more connections and so many different methods of reaching audiences as a result, but because it is so easy to administer messages through the web, there is of course a lot of noise. So especially digital natives like myself, or people who use the web a lot, we're very, very fast at just cutting out the noise. If something doesn't engage us immediately, we're done. And I think that's translating to customers in general.
We just did a webinar a few weeks ago for an organization that uses mobile technology to help people become more effective in their mobile workforce management. We always conduct a couple of what we call online polls. We ask their opinion, and we ask their opinion on a particular subject. We collect their votes, we share their votes, and we show the audience where people fit. But here's what was really interesting. This organization marketed a particular piece of hardware that was somewhat of a smartphone. And we asked the question, which of the following smartphones do you use? Apple, Android, Windows. We don't use smartphones. 57% of the audience said they don't use smartphones.
Wow.
So they gave that information up.
You don't even have to go looking for that.
No.
Okay, so you're telling me that webinars are a form of communicating with the audience and engaging them with your brand that costs nothing in terms of travel, brings everyone together, brings qualified customers to your brand who volunteer their own information, therefore building your qualified lists of customers, and also allows you the ability to track more specific bits of data than ever before. So if webinars are that effective at marketing in general, why can't I just go use like a electronic meeting software and make my own webinar?
If you're interested in really being able to reach an audience beyond your normal audience, you need to be able to identify who that audience is. You need to be able to have access to that audience. You need to be able to identify what the relevant message or value proposition is. You need someone who is a master audience recruiter to figure out, how do we get that audience? How do we create an invitation that's compelling, that's going to make them want to come and register? And then once we get them to register, how do we get that information without seeming invasive or manipulative? And how do we keep the process moving? And then more importantly, once we have that, how do we coach the speakers or the presenters on making sure that what they deliver is consistent with what the invitation said, they're passionate about it, and that the audience walks away with something they didn't have before?
So I'm curious, what are the risks of doing it wrong?
My mother taught me, how many first impressions do you get to make?
I think about one.
Yeah. And if you go out and you spend all this time and effort and energy and resources on recruiting an audience and you fail to deliver what they wanted, click, you lost them.
Absolutely. Well, you've answered all of my questions fabulously, and I really appreciate this introduction to webinars, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you for inviting us to be part of the conversation, too.
My pleasure.
Make sure you visit our Learning Center at webattract.com to learn more, as well as to watch other best practice videos, view some case studies, and watch our library of on-demand webinars.